And now let's talk about what's been trending on Google this week. The Wall Street Journal's Ramy Inocencio tells us what the world's been talking about and why.
I'm Ramy Inocencio with a look at what's spiking on Google Trends in this past week for the Asia-Pacific region. Joining me now is Joyce Howe of Google Asia-Pacific. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so tell me, the coolest or the craziest thing that you've seen in the past week out of Asia?
Well, one of the craziest stories we saw came from China this week, where a farmer from Shandong province claimed to have electrocuted an alien on the banks of the Yellow River. So he took this alien corpse back home and stuck it in his freezer and took pictures of it.
And it looked like a piece of dough, a huge piece of dough.
Yeah.
But I understand it actually wasn't dough.
No, so upon interrogation, the authorities brought him in and actually asked him. He confessed it was a hoax right away. Actually, it was made out of high-quality rubber.
That begs the question, where does a rural farmer, as respected as he is, find high-quality rubber out there?
You can find a lot of things in China.
And for cheap, too.
Yeah.
The second thing I want to talk about is in tech news, and the iOS 7, of course, came out to a lot of fanfare around the world. What did you guys see?
It spiked across all regions in Asia. People are really anticipating the new iOS launch coming this fall from Apple. But what was also interesting was iOS 7 beta, the developers version of the software, was being searched for a ton. App developers are probably looking to familiarize themselves with this new OS to make sure that their apps are ready for when the consumer launch of the new OS comes out. It's the biggest update to the iOS system since the first iOS launch.
Yeah. All right, third thing I want to talk about. The Man of Steel premiered around the world, and interestingly, it spiked in India, of all places. That's not the first place I thought it would spike.
That's right. Conventionally, we see Bollywood movies spike always at the top of Indian charts, but for some reason, Man of Steel was actually really, really popular, and might be because the movie studios prioritized the India launch, so they made the screening available at the same weekend.
And relative to how other Bollywood movies came out that weekend, how did Superman perform?
Better. Yeah, there are a couple of other Hindi comedies coming out that weekend, but Man of Steel definitely took the top spot in terms of search interest.
If they would ever do Superman and Bollywood together.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Man of Steel doing the Bhangra?
Oh yeah, I would love
I would
the musical extravaganza.
Yeah, great. All right. Joyce Howe, thanks so much. Google Asia Pacific for joining us. This has been the latest in what's been happening in Asia Pacific in Google Trends.